welcome to Quackalope. Thank you for being here.
You're supposed to say welcome to Shelf or Sell.
Another episode of Shelf or Sell, and today we're selling the giant Cthulhu miniature.
He's just trying to get a rise out of me. He would never do it.
Massive, giant Cthulhu miniature. Honestly, if you want to swing over, send us an email if you'd like to purchase this and take it off our hands.
We worked so hard to find this that you wouldn't dare get rid of it.
The unopened gameplay components here. And yeah, this is a series where we go through our personal collection and determine what is going to stay and what is going to go.
Are you waiting for me to get scared?
And today...
Because I'm not scared.
We're getting rid of...
If Cthulhu goes, Galactus goes.
I mean, why would that be the case? You like them both.
Right. So if you're getting rid of one, then we're not going to have any.
She's like, we'll light it all on fire. This is actually our middle game. We always have something that's in the center, and it's not Cthulhu Death May Die. It is actually directly...
The big Cthulhu.
The big Cthulhu. I have one question for you, the audience. Do you all want us to pop the seal on this gameplay and... actually, do a gameplay with this giant miniature?
Yes. The answer is yes.
I've heard mixed...
If you're on my team, the answer is yes.
I've heard mixed opinions on whether or not this scenario actually incorporates the miniature in a worthwhile way. But it doesn't mean I don't want to try it. And we have him just kind of sitting in the corner of Shira's office.
Yeah, that's where his home is.
He's
not bothering you.
We did a giant comparison with this versus
Galactus?
The Marvel Zombies Galactus. And now, the only question I have is, do you all want to see content with this guy, or should he continue just being in our collection?
He will be in our collection.
Yeah?
Forever.
Send us an email, put your offers in, put your bids in, we'll see if you can convince Shira to let him go.
Alright.
Okay.
Mercado de Lisboa.
I have one thing I want to point out to you.
What? Vitel Lacerda. Okay. Is this part of Lisboa?
Here's the weird thing about Mercado de Lisboa. It is actually one small module of Lisboa.
So it's an expansion?
No. It is a standalone game where they took the larger game Lisboa and said, hey, you know that part where you build up, your stall, you build up your marketplace?
Yeah.
We'll make that its own standalone game with a few twists and mechanics, but really, it's like one corner of Lisboa. For instance, we have Vinhos here.
Right.
If you took if you took just the growing portion of Vinhos, and that was the game, and you scored points directly off of that, that's kind of what this does with Lisboa.
It's staying.
It's not, though.
It
is.
What
she means...
What?
What she means is she would like to play it.
Yes, and then it's going to stay, because it's a Lacerda game.
She is becoming a fan of Lacerda games.
Yes. And
especially
if this is just a bite size of Lisboa, then...
It is a bite size of Lisboa.
That sounds perfect for our collection.
The issue for me is that while I enjoyed playing and covering this title, and I think for a lot of game groups it's a great fit, because of the theme and just the nature of it, it's right in that middle zone of leaning towards heavier, but not too complicated. And because of the theme, because of the aesthetic of it, it never really gets pulled off the shelf. It's never one that I'm like, oh.
Can it function it says it can function 2 to 4 players?
Yeah, it can. I played it mostly at 3.
Let's give it a shot before it goes somewhere.
We will give it a shot, but this is on my sell pile, unless she decides to rescue it. For the reason that I really like it, but it's just not getting played. Yeah. And we can't hold on to a pile of things that just aren't getting played. Okay. So that's 2 games that are going, which means we have...
One was the middle game, so the middle game doesn't count, and that's one game that's going.
Also leaving.
Baseball Highlights 2045, this can go.
Baseball Highlights, why can this go?
It's baseball. I don't like sports.
So here's the cool thing with Baseball Highlights. If you haven't ever played it, it's a baseball game that does do baseball in a really interesting way. Because you build out your roster, you build out your team, and when it says highlights, what that means is you're doing the best parts of baseball. The grand slam, the running around the bases, the choosing who you have. And the cool thing is you actually have humans versus AI, humans versus robots on these different baseball teams. This is a fantastic deck building game.
Cool.
That's the cool part. You have your hand of cards, you select your team and your roster. Throughout the course of the game, you're going to be drafting, upgrading, and pulling cards into your hand that then you then utilize for this head-to-head matchup with other players. I think it's one you need to try.
I'll try it, but then it's going to go.
With the caveat that this is another one that I love I love the application of the theme. I think anyone that loves baseball will love this game. I also think the gameplay is fantastic, but the combination of the two, for me, hasn't elicited a game that I oftentimes want to get off the shelf. And deck building is one of my favorite mechanics. So I love the deck building in this, but I also love the deck building in 20 other games in our collection. And I find that those games come off the shelf more often than Baseball Highlights does. So this is another one. I'd like to give it a shot with you.
Okay.
But I just don't... I'm not convinced that it's going to stick around.
I start some on your side. Bear Raid.
You just played this.
I just played this.
Okay.
We're supposed to be playing it again today.
Are we with Alex?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
He requested to play it.
Good to know. He needs to get his new game of the month in.
Yep.
So, do you want to talk about Bear Raid?
Bear Raid is a game involving stocks and making bids. I don't know. I don't know the terminology, but you have stock in a company and you're trying to make the stock worth go up or shoot it down and then come out with the most money in the end. It was a really interesting introduction to the stock market.
It has a mechanic called short selling, which allows you to sell off a stock in the hopes that the value will drop and you'll be able to buy it back at a better deal, meaning you've made profit on whatever the difference was because you only owed the stock shares. Really, really fascinating economic game with a lot of head-to-head kind of puzzle solving as you try to weed out where people are going to invest, how the dice are going to be rolled, who is going to control the market, and specifically how you can scramble your way up from the bottom and hopefully make as much money as possible.
I'm waiting to hear what your opinion is.
Oh, my opinion right now is that this is staying around.
Good. Okay.
I think it's very interesting. It's a squabble. It's a tactical game. Is it a perfect game?
No.
No. And are there other economic games that I like more? Probably in the train genre, I would say. Like
it was
Age of
really
Steam.
interesting to see how we circled around, and I was trying to predict what other players were going to do with the stock that they had either just short sold or that they had just bought like 5 shares in. Were they then going to plan around and like try to make the prices go up and make them double?
Yeah.
It was really interesting.
Yeah.
I want to give it a couple more shots.
No, we're definitely going to give it a few more shots. I see no reason why this one doesn't stay on the shelf. I think it's adding something unique to the collection. It's very fun, and with the right group, it's a good time. The biggest criticism I have right now is that I think it could run a little bit too long, depending on how it's playing. But if you're playing with an experienced group, I'd argue that maybe that wouldn't be too big of a problem anyway. Let's pull over
Equinox. This one's going.
Why?
It was cute, and it was fun, and we played it a bunch after we picked it up, and we don't get it off the shelf anymore.
Yeah, that's the punch of it, right? So Equinox...
Our game group doesn't really like it. They don't think it is as tactical as we do. We both enjoyed it, but there are so many other better 2-player games that we're going to play between us.
Equinox is a fascinating game all about escalating powers and abilities. You play down a row of cards, you slowly bid on who you're going to push forward in the race, and you're doing your very best to not only gain the power of the animal that you're supporting, the person who you're drafting, but also determine who is not going to move on to the next round, meaning that your abilities change and where you've placed your value or your bets throughout every round becomes more and more tactical. I could see this working really well with some groups.
Yeah.
I could even see the game group that we play Bear Raid with enjoying this one.
Okay.
So I'd be open to doing maybe a 4-player game with it before it leaves. But I do agree with you. I don't think Equinox is going to have a permanent spot in our collection. I really have enjoyed playing it. I'd be happy to play it if anyone asked.
Yeah.
But I don't find myself asking for it.
It's a solid middle ground game. Ghost of Christmas, we don't even really need to talk about. We've done a full review of it.
Who?
It's staying in our collection.
Not enough people have seen the full review.
Ghost of Christmas is staying in our collection. It is a fantastic trick-taking game where you're either doing 3 or 4 simultaneous tricks. You're predicting how many tricks you're going to win, and that is where your points will be determined. It is great. It is punchy. It plays at 3 and 4 players.
It's probably going to be one of my favorite games of the year.
And it's just staying.
We keep pulling it.
Yes.
I mean, the fact that it's right there, I was already thinking when Dennis comes over, I want to just play Ghost of Christmas.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many other games we could play, but Ghost of Christmas wants to get off the shelf every time I see it. Bioshock Infinite. So, I really, really like Bioshock. I've got the wrist tattoos that say a man chooses, a slave obeys. Like, it's this lore and world that I absolutely adore. And so, like, 4 years ago, I bought the Bioshock Infinite board game, and clearly have never opened it. Now, the interesting thing that I'm seeing here is it's actually produced by Plaid Hat Games, which makes me hesitate on my desire to just go ahead and admit that I never need to play this one and get rid of it. I am
You're a fan of Plaid Hat Games and what they do.
And the storytelling that they do.
Yeah.
I'm actually shocked that it is made by them because it's not rated very well.
Okay.
I bought it knowing that. I bought it specifically because I like the minis and I wanted to do a review of the video game to board game comparison. Yeah. But the fact is,
you're trying to get that series up and running. Maybe keep it around for a little bit.
I am. This one, it isn't staying in the collection. Not only was Bioshock Infinite not the best of all the Bioshocks, I mean, it was the second best, probably. Bioshock 1 is probably the most solid. 2, I loved the re-exploration of the world. The expansions were fantastic. And Infinite was good, but they dropped the ball when it came to world exploration. I kind of want to try this one now. I was just going to admit that it was going, but now I kind of want to give it at least one shot and do a direct video game. This should have been the middle
game, and Cthulhu should have been on the staying side.
And do a direct comparison with the video game versus board game counterpart, especially now that I have a gaming PC up and running. But with that being said, it's got to go. I mean,
this is 4 games for the go. That means at least 3 of these are staying.
Maquis.
This is a solo game that I have yet had a chance to dive into. You've dived into it.
Yeah, I brought this upstairs specifically so that it could just move off of the shelf downstairs onto the shelf in our main foyer. This is
so it's staying.
It's a lovely little worker placement solo game. I backed it on Kickstarter. Really happy with what came out. It's a tiny little small box. Great for like a collection of small box solo games that you have on the wall. I need to teach this one to you, but I really have loved delving into this. Now, it can be a bit random at times. It can be a bit chaotic. It can present you with puzzles that, as far as I can tell, I cannot win. But apparently, people on the internet still claim you're able to. I've been doing a lot more solo gaming recently. I mean, I just played Legacy. I just played what is it?
Final Girl.
Forlorn Kingdoms. Final Girl. I've been playing through Marvel Champions.
Yeah.
A lot of cool solo excursions, and so it makes me want to grab Maquis and give it another swing, just because I remember how much I actually like this game.
Awesome.
So,
Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea.
This is a game that when I mention it to you, you're going to want to probably try.
Yes.
But we're never going to get this off the shelf, and so it needs to leave.
I have heard about it, and I believe either Alex wants to play it, has it. It's somewhere on one of his lists.
I think it's on his list that he would like to play at some time. It's going to be a 4X game, which means explore, expand, exploit.
Oh, I don't like 4Xs.
And exterminate. You don't like the space 4X that you've tried.
Right.
But you haven't tried a lot of 4X, and then combined with that, you like area control so much.
Yeah.
That something like this that is 4X is just really good tactical area control. It is every element of area control.
I found them to be too big and expansive and open-ended. With area control, it's a lot more focused, that genre.
You know where you're scoring your points, and it deals with area control specifically, whereas in 4X, typically you can score your points from exploiting, from expanding, from exterminating, from...
There's a lot of different pathways, and that open-endedness has always overwhelmed me.
Sure. I think that makes sense. I think it's a fair critique. I do think that 4X is a genre that your natural inclination for area control eventually bridges into.
Yeah.
I don't, however, think Heroes of Air, Land, and Sea is that game for you. This one is not the best in the 4X genre. It has a cool theme, which I think was one of the most appealing elements to it. I definitely want to play it with Alex once, but as far as my own copy, it's heavy, it's big, and the same problem that you have with 4X games being too expansive, too open-ended, same problem getting them to the table.
Okay.
It's a lot of details.
There's already a couple 4X that you have put on our permanent collection that aren't going to get played.
It's a lot of details. It's a lot of rule sets that you have to learn yourself and then know well enough to teach for other people.
Yeah.
Because the best thing about 4X is when you have an empire that you can interact with, and you need players to do that. So as much as I have wanted to play this game in the past, I think I'm going to wait till I have someone whose game group I can join to play it instead of having it in my own collection. Let's do
Big Duck.
Okay. So we got sent from Kevin an absolutely...
I'm trying to minimize the
I know,
glare.
I was too. An absolutely insane Crokinole board. So I posted a video talking about my
Grail games.
And
Crokinole was one of them.
And Crokinole was one of them. And we got a message from one of our Patreon supporters. Kevin sent us a message saying, hey,
Yeah.
I have a surprise on the way for you. And I had no idea what it was until
It really
like
surprised us
a
when we
week,
took it
a
out
week
of the
and a half
box.
later. He sent me a message saying, I want to let you know I've ordered this. And then this showed up with the insane graphic, amazing production. We just wanted to share this with the audience, like show off this crazy Crokinole board.
This is for sure staying in our collection.
Oh yeah, no, it's never leaving. Period. It's hanging on the wall.
Yeah. We have to
Not
find its
only
location.
is Crokinole a absolute blast.
Yeah. It's
but
actually
also,
the one dexterity game that I like.
I know.
It's amazing.
Weird, right? It's probably one of, if not the best of the like genre.
There's one more that Alex has that's a rounder board.
Yeah.
That is a similar thing where you're flinging
Rounder?
discs.
This is literally a circle.
No, square board.
Oh, that's the opposite of rounder.
It's a square board that you're trying to get around a track with.
Yeah.
It's a race. But that's the other dexterity game. I like the boards specifically. They're really fine workmanship. They're
so
fantastic.
This is going to go on a wall, and on the back here we have Quackalope from CrokinoleWorld.com, January 2022, with a signature from the artist that made it. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for sending this over to us. We're going to find a place to hang it up soon. So far it's been living on the game table downstairs. And finally, we've played another Lacerda.
Yes.
We've been trying to go through them all. Shira has this competition with Before You Play, where she sees any heavy game that they play, and she, because you're a fan of Monique, you want to like be able to match her in this space.
I do.
And so we're trying to play through those Lacerda games.
Yeah, Vinhos was absolutely a blast. It was really manageable. Once you got through the rule teach, it was very manageable. You were creating vineyards and producing wines and trying to score the wines in a fair. We played with the side that has the bank on it, which I want to try the other side.
It's 2016 or 20. I think it's
2016 we played, and I think 2010 is the one that does not have a bank.
I believe we played the earliest version.
We did?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's either like 2010, 2016, or 2016, 2020, something like that. But it's the version before the update that still has all your money going to the bank, still has the market track, still has the separation when it comes to bidding or submitting your wines to the competition. A little bit different. Not significantly, but a little bit different.
And I liked it. We've gotten it to the table a couple times this week, and I am excited to continue diving into it.
I think we're probably going to do a 2-player gameplay sometime in the next week, just to grab some content with it. This is actually a friend's copy.
Yeah. Which I joked before we started the video. I was like, you're cheating. You're putting a friend's copy on our shelf ourselves.
Well, here's my question. Is this on your list now of something that you want to add to our collection, or are you still okay having played it, but not necessarily adding it?
No, I want to add it.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. So, there you have it. It is going on the shelf list.
Just like the Lisboa is going to go on our shelf.
Unlike... She wants to, once she finds one genre she likes or one thing she likes, she's like, let's get all of them. And then we play them all, and she's like, why aren't all of these as good as the other ones I've played? And I'm like, because that's how things work.
No, that's not how I work.
It's not how things work. Either way, that's our shelf or sell for this episode. Let us know what you think. I'm tired. It's been a long week. Yeah. You worked like 35 hours at the NEQ.
I'm tired.
A blizzard hit outside.
Yeah.
We did a vlog.
Check out our vlog.
Yeah, which
I was barely in it, but Jesse made a lot of progress on Kingdom Forlorn.
Shoveled the entire driveway.
No, he didn't. He shoveled half of it. And got very tired and winded and complained for the next hour how cold and out of breath he was.
Wow.
So.
That's strange that this video has already stopped filming.
No, it hasn't.
What?
I'm editing it.
Just very strange that it's already off.